morning and have happy Wednesday. I welcome you to another episode of Atlantic Blowout. And Atlantic Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network featuring Chit Chat, PHRC Takeoff. And from the presidency, we have Tinubu's 6th National Assembly approval for 1.77 trillion naira loan. And then we have the minister decries effects of food insecurity on productivity. We have from the security refrain from reporting police misconduct online. This is coming from the Inspector General of Police. We have group oppose bill to remove police from pension scheme.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. From the line Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only.
welcome back. And like I said, we have amazing guests with us here at the studio, and they are no other than the first here is on my left, sorry, Obona Woki. He is a former House of Rep member. He is also a publisher of Port Harcourt Telegraph. It is a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And then next, beside him, we have Mr. Silver Bill. He is a legal practitioner, and it is a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
God bless you.
And finally, we have Comrade Chuba Owozo. He is a public affairs analyst. You are welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm so honored to have all of you here with me at the studio. And let's go into the story for today. And we have 2 months after the September completion deadline flop, the Nigerian International Petroleum Commission has explained why it could not deliver the much-awaited Port Harcourt Refinery Company. In an interview on Monday, the NNPC Chief Corporate Communications Officer Olufemi Soneye said the company encountered risks and challenges while carrying out the rehabilitation, being a brownfield project. He noted that the NNPC began the commissioning of critical equipment and processing units after the mechanical completion in Nigeria. You may recall that mechanical completion of the PHRC revamp was successfully achieved several months ago, marking a significant milestone in the project. However, common with brownfield projects of this scale and complexity, we encountered unforeseen risks and challenges. Nonetheless, the issues were resolved and commissioning activities have resumed, he said. Soneye stressed that issues have since been effectively resolved and commissioning activities have resumed. It was observed that NNPC desisted from giving new deadlines for the delivery of the refinery, having failed to meet its deadlines 7 times. Nigerians have been hopeful that the cost of fuel could crash if the country refines its crude and ends the import of refined products. In March 2021, the Nigerian government acquired a $1.5 billion loan for the renovation and modernization of the refinery, but the contractor handling the project has yet to announce its completion. Harcourt.
I think those, excuse me, I think those gentlemen at the NNPC deserve to be tied to a stake, either short or flogged, because it's taken us a grand ride over time. I don't know whether they think that technology isn't available, whether they think that those of us who are watching them are not knowledgeable. Now, how do you tell us every time that on so date we have the refinery commission, and when the time comes, you hear nothing? They will tell you about sabotage. They will tell you. So what were they doing? What were they thinking? Now, for me, although there's this illusion, in my view, that the commissioning of the refinery is owned by the NNPC should not stop giving us stories. If the federal government knows what is right, let them privatize the refineries.
Okay.
That is the only way we can get some bargain out of those refineries.
Okay.
If not, you remain a conduit pipe. You just keep collecting money, and then they do nothing. It's like at Okuta, nothing. There's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, thank you very much on your thoughts about that. Oh, quickly, Chuba, I would love to get your thoughts. What do you think about the situation with the Port Harcourt refinery?
For me, I think this report kind of encapsulates the Nigerian state today. Whether we like it or yes, like the chief clearly alluded, it's a conduit pipe, whether we are. I say very all bold statement. We have people who pride themselves, carry themselves in funny manners from the southern part of Nigeria as though they are demigods, acting all funny, all cocky, as if they have everything in lock and keys. Whereas, out of sheer ingenuity, our locals have been able to refine these products again and again over the years, right under our noses in this country. Then with all the equipment and structure in NNPC, till date, we cannot refine products. It is still a spiritual thing for us to get it done. More so, because of the insincerity of all the governments that we have had before now, you find out that we have a government who comes out to tell us that one reason or the other. If NNPC Air was a private liability, was a private company owned by some persons, what temerity or on what grounds would the likes of Melakari, who has been there for decades, be doing there up until now? If any private business is delivering in this capacity, would that private business still keep all those places in its board? So that would like it or yes. Like the chief
do to be able to ensure that petroleum products are delivered to the people at a rate that is considerably okay. Now, for me, it is a painful reality. It is pathetic indeed that a set of intellectuals who have been put together to man a particular company, a particular situation, bring back our refineries, will come and talk to people who have these refineries on board. The three of them are going to work. In fact, as at August 2019, if I'm not mistaken, we will have the Port Harcourt refineries work. Kerry said that. By December, I can assure you, he spoke to the Senate. By December, I can assure you that every one of them will work perfectly. And the date came and nothing happened. The year passed and nothing happened. They kept promising up to the... And this time I'm happy our brother, the learned Sikh Falana, I said, come, give us the date when this thing will work, when this thing will function. And they are shying away from it. They are running away completely. In fact, they have been able to bring in some technicalities, pushing it to say, oh, let their legal counsel answer. We are a private firm. We are not affected by this provision.
Without being given the opportunity to allow to sell the products to the consumers in Nigeria?
Well, you understand that NNPC is partly in charge of this situation.
Okay.
At first, it was protested by independent marketers. Allow us to get this product directly from Dangote refinery, and give it back to the public as it is required. NNPC stood in the gap and said, no, we get it, we give it to you. And it is a problem. For every economy to work effectively, the market forces more.
Okay.
And that's got to do with the Freedom of Information Act. The intent of that law was not to say that only those who preside over information or who control information in government. The intent is that anywhere in Nigeria, under any institution, once information is sought, we should have a responsibility to release that information to the one who wants it. Because information is a tool, not just for socialization, it's a tool for information. It's also a tool for economic decisions. So no one, including NNPC, because we need to speak truth to power. The NNPC has become a conduit pipe, an organization that only fuels importation. And because its key operatives, until Dangote let us know that in Malta there was a blending.
We can allow it continue to die like this if it is not for personal interest of those that are already opportuned. What is the excuse? Are we talking about rocket science? Our people, our locals, out of sheer ingenuity, refine these products again and again. For years, the refinery, the NNPC has not even imported or is refining kerosene. But we still have the kerosene within our circulation. Who is making it possible? Then you tell us that with all those structures and equipments on ground already, if you tell me to galvanize the locals to go into that place and function with those things, you tell me we'll not be able to refine the crude. So it is a clear case of what Chief clearly stated. People are partnering with organizations and companies outside the shores of this country and are bringing back the same product in a more costly manner, and they are just sharing money, and they are sharing money at the expense of the Nigerian people, and they have in one way or the other destroyed the state that does not know the date to the complete destruction, and you are still keeping it there to do a job. It should be fired quickly, but hell no, who will fire who when everybody is empiling and sharing money on the same table? This is the level of corruption and where Nigeria has come is at the moment as a country today, and it is pitiable and painful to the Nigerian people.
Okay, quickly, I have a question to throw out here. Talking about importation and exportation, this crude, we have situations with cocoa. We have states in Nigeria that are known for the food baskets of the nation, and then we export these things. We export cocoa and import coffee, and then we export crude and get them back in at like the chief said, we do this at cheaper rates, and then we get them back at more expensive rates. How do you think this would affect?
It's a greater country if it has used its resources well. See, the simple truth is that the problem of Nigeria is leadership. The problem of Nigeria is greed. The problem of Nigeria is hatred for ourselves. And looking inwards again, I think some time ago we talked about not just greed, but this tribalism. Now tell me, only recently something happened and the IPEC coordinator was removed. If not for the fact that Ogoni people came up to say no, Mosop came up to say no, this will not happen again, cannot be removed for us to get a better government.
Bill, I want to get your attention on something. Are you trying to say that the hierarchy, the leadership, is affecting our manufacturing production process in the country?
Yes, it is. It is. If not, tell me why we have 3 refineries in Nigeria. We are the giant, if I'm not mistaken, at least in Africa, of people that produce oil. We have it enough, petroleum. And then we take it out of Nigeria, pay the cost of taking it out, take it to other countries of the world or another country of the world. Okay. We have it refined and we bring it back to our people to buy at a higher rate when it is still something we can do. Okay. What happens to
committed themselves, to the issue of engineering production in Nigeria? Now, policy. What's the policy stance of the federal government? You can see, using NNPC as an example, that those lads in NNPC prefer importation than production because they have their interest protected. The 10%ers in Nigeria are the ones making hay. You can see how many times have we had a collapse of the grid. You will agree that there's a trajectory that this administration are trying to travel. Coming here to defend Tinubu, for example, you can see that power supply has increased marginally. At least I can say that for the rivers where I operate. I know that power supply has increased. But what do you see? The sabotage that is always making sure that you can't even supply power. So those will benefit from the kind of structure that we have.
Thank you very much, Chief, on that. But we have to move forward. And talking about leadership, we have the President Bola Tinubu has written to both the Senate and the House of Representatives seeking approval of a new external borrowing of $2.209 billion, which is equivalent to 1.76 trillion naira, as provided in the 2024 Appropriation Act. President Tinubu forwarded to the Senate the 2024 to 2027 midterm expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, and for 2025 to 2027, approved by the Federal Executive Council on November 3rd, 2024, to Parliament. The request, which seeks expeditious passage, was referred to Senator Sani Musa of the APC and Niger East-led Senate committees on finance and national and economic planning to report back as soon as possible. President Tinubu explained that the purpose of borrowing would be to finance the 2024 budget deficits as part of Nigeria's broader fiscal strategy, adding that the amount of 2.209 billion will be raised through Eurobonds or other external borrowing instruments. It also indicated terms and conditions are detailed in an attachment summary to guide the Senate's review. According to the President, the request was part of Nigeria's budgetary financing plan that is aimed at addressing a portion of the 9.17 trillion fiscal deficits in the 2024 budget. The President's letter addressed to the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and the Speaker, House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, during plenary highlighted that the request was in line with the provisions of Section 21 on the Section 1 and Section 27 on the Section 1 of the Debt Management Office Establishment Act of 2003. The letter also provided detailed terms and conditions for the issuance of Eurobonds in the international capital markets to raise the required sum. Tinubu authorized the Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy alongside the DMO to take all necessary steps to execute the plan upon National Assembly approval. The President appealed for swift legislative action, emphasizing the importance of timely resolution to implement the borrowing plan. Akpabio referred referred the matter to the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, chaired by Senator Aliyu Wamako of the APC Sokoto State, with instructions to report back within 24 hours. Quickly, Barrister, I would love to get your thoughts about this, coming from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Taking my mind to this story, it makes me sad the more. And I began to ask the question within me, where are we heading to? I know that an economy in the circumstance, I will not say much.
I'm sorry, I need to get your thoughts. You talked about borrowing as a sign of failure. Why did you say that?
Well, we are not borrowing to invest in agriculture. We are not borrowing to boost manufacturing so that we say, when we borrow this money and invest, we are going to get something. It is more or less we are borrowing to settle debt. That's what it means.
That was removed for just 20 days. And the government of the day at the time, however naive, they made the world to see this was what we accrued from the removal of subsidy. And this is where we are heading in respect to funding. Now subsidy has been removed. We don't even know where the funds for subsidy that is being removed is being put into. Now we have come out to say we want to borrow 1.77 trillion. You ask yourself, a government that is yet to come out to say the office is still too wild, and as it is, we are cutting down on the aids of the president. Imagine the Speaker of the House of Reps having over 43 persons as aides. The Senate President having how many as aides? What are their duties? You now ask yourself. Now we have not even cut down on public expenditure. We have not cut down on the humongous lifestyle of public officers. Inside this debt we are talking about, we talked about 21 billion for the renovation of the apartment of the Vice President. We talked about a presidential yacht for the President. We talked about a new presidential jet in the midst of this type of economy, and someone tells you that there's a plan somewhere being worked out. Permit me to make very bold statements. This administration is about another very unserious set of people, because there is nothing to show that will give any hope to any sane Nigerian that from what is being done today, there is hope going forward. Obviously now, it's a clear case of the fact that government is just borrowing money to share, believing that we will not be here when the payments will come. Let everybody make money for themselves, build a dynasty for their families, and that is just all that they think about.
You said that the monies are borrowed to be shared. Are there proofs guiding that statement?
Okay, what proofs do you want to have? Like the barrister clearly asked, did we borrow the money to say now this money we are borrowing is going to make the Port Harcourt Warri refinery function in 3 weeks? This money is much, but we are going to make it function in 3 weeks, and in the course of making it function in 3 weeks, we are going to be able to produce XYZ of products. That is not the question, or that's not the answer. Are we saying that because of this money we are borrowing now, we are saying that the 36 states are going to have this XYZ, and we're going to look at we're going to do a what's it called, a scaling, or to see how they have been able to produce agriculture, even if it is fishery, cassava, whatever, over the 36 states, to say this is what we're going to do within the next 9 months. That is not the answer. Are we saying that we are borrowing this money to say, okay, we are making sure that we are producing?
United States, China, these are frontline economies that are doing well. But if they tell you the amount of debt too that is associated with their greatness, you will shiver. Okay? So I want to say that, of course, unfortunately for this great country, regardless of all of the resources that we have, we've not been able to do a balanced budget. Our budgets have always been deficit oriented, meaning that you don't have money enough to fund the budget. Therefore, you will need to inject some additional funds. So, well, one thing I've always asked myself is, why is it that we chew too much? Why is it that every government wants to do everything at the same time? If Tinubu comes on board and says, gentlemen, and you come, a little road contract that you've given here, you do not pay the complete money, it doesn't work. The next thing you're hearing is variation, this, that. Maybe they should borrow a little model from the reverse model where we pay about 70% of the cost to the contractor so they don't tell us any stories. Yeah, I think that what we are facing in Nigeria is something that's becoming too embarrassing. You know, the president of the United States, this one who just came, who just won election, just said the other day, we should go back to our country, meaning that we are taking over their medical space. The best doctors are Nigerians, best nurses are Nigerians, and they say your country is still, go back and take care of your home. See, it tells you a lot of story.
Check it. The health sector right now is nothing really good to write home about. You know, right. I just want to get your thoughts about that.
Let's go back a little. We're faced with a situation like, okay, let's start from the budget. You will find that you are even struggling to raise money for capital projects. Because most of what if you look at our budget properly, you'll find that the current is higher, usually higher than the amount of men that they are seeing abroad. Still, look how quickly we came out of COVID. Look how quickly we came, all of these sicknesses globally that people think that the developing world will suffer from. We always found, I don't know how those Nigerian doctors do it, but somehow we're able to get out of trouble, you know, and now they have gone abroad where technology is also part of what they're doing, and they're proving the point. So the point I'm just trying to make is that it takes, for me, as a Nigerian, I'm proud that regardless of what we think about the educational system, our system works. So it means that we have been producing doctors for other countries. Okay? Now, the only thing that we need to do is to have that symbiotic relationship where you go out, look at the Arabs learning and bring it back home. So you have the Emirates, the Saudi, everybody's doing, look what the Middle East has become. So if let me stop there.
Thank you very much on your thoughts about that. Well, we need to drive towards the right direction and make sure that we achieve a desired goal and make the nation a sustainable one for every individual to settle in. And we'll go on a quick short break, and when we return, we'll go back into more stories that we have for you. Do stay with us.
Live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. Across the ocean, to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
We have this story from the Ministry of Agriculture, the Minister of Economic Instability. He noted that food insecurity has long-term consequences, undermining the well-being of future generations and threatening national security, while noting that the government is determined to transform the agricultural landscape. Abubakar Kari said it is impossible to do it alone without the support of the private sector. Strategic collaborations such as these are vital for sustainable solutions. Our agricultural sector faces numerous obstacles that limit its full potential. Climate change has intensified unpredictable weather patterns, leading to droughts and floods that devastate crops and threaten food supply chains. Speaking during the Food and Energy Security in Africa conference, which was put together by White and Case LP in collaboration with African Finance Corporation, Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, and African Bank in Lagos, the minister said
the Nigerian government will not be shaming such people publicly on account of the fact that they were doing something on the ground. That's to tell you what level of seriousness we place on both security and food. It's obvious that we have people who are just sharing this nation's patrimony at the comfort of their personal cocoons, and little or nothing can be done anymore, because if anything should be done, before long, when people protest, you find out that things are reversed from where it was to where it should be, or even brought even further lower. We saw a protest in 2012 that reversed the removal of subsidy, and we saw how the nation was. But today we saw the protest. After protesting, it went up. We protested again, it went up. And now the Nigerian people have come to realize that, listen, we have no voices. Protesting does not make anything change or work. This is a country who is being run on a...
wanting to send back into government.
We applaud rogues, we applaud criminals in our country today. Look at it. Whether we like it or yes.
Are you trying to say that we don't accept good things? You said we applaud
the
criminals.
realities are what is staring us all in the face. Today, somebody lives in a 2-bedroom apartment and he becomes a commissioner tomorrow, or he becomes an House of Assembly member tomorrow, and in less than 9 months, he's not just living in a mansion, he's living in a street. He's going to buy a full street and start living well. And at the end of the day, you that is doing your little farming and was living your life in a quiet and comfortable manner, begin to see to it that whatever you were doing was a charade. Okay. So that is the kind of system that is equally causing insecurity in the country.
Let me hold your thoughts on that, but quickly I want to hear from you, Chief. We have from the north, there are lots of states that are farmers. They produce rice, beans, yam, what have you, and all of that. And then most of those foods that we
ran from his farm, chased by Fulanis, he ran. You know? So, what we should be telling ourselves is the truth. And I think they expect us, when we gather like this, to speak truth to power. We cannot make any sense of food sufficiency if we do not address instability. Unfortunately, when you talk in terms of, there was a time many years ago, before the advent of oil, that we who are born around here belong to the Oil Rivers province. That was the time of the palm trees, palm kernels, palm oil. today we literally drink fuel. Our nostrils are blocked, you know, as a result of, man, I don't know, what is that? Who produces tomato paste?
Dangote.
No, that's another, I think that somebody had to go to jail. He held a woman who tried to mess him up. Now they're saying the woman is in prison with Bele or something like that. You know, but the point I'm making is that his product was so run down by his own people that you wonder, even in countries where machinery is inferior, they try to produce. If you look at the Chinese example, what you are seeing there is an aggregate of producers who produce similar things, get them together, give to the distributor, who distributes, sells, and returns to all of them at their level based on like a cooperative, based on the way they produce. So I ask myself, what kind of
States on Monday, the IG emphasized that the use of social media to address grievances often leads to misinformation and undermines the integrity of the police force. Ebatokun stressed that such platforms provide a more structured and accountable process for addressing complaints. He acknowledged the role social media plays in shaping public opinion, but warned that unverified information could create false perceptions. The IGP highlighted the importance of promoting transparency and accountability within the police force, and noted that the police consider the media a critical partner in this effort. I'm glad to address the PPRO's Communication Expert Conference. I thank the governor for hosting this conference. This conference is part of police reform aimed at building trust and respect, which will in turn help us gain public trust, he added. Meanwhile, Governor Sheriff Vori of Delta State, who opened the conference, also shared his insights on the challenges of policing on states like Delta and Lagos, pointing out the importance of countering misinformation and fostering effective communication between the police and the public. I want to thank the IGP for his good work, Obori Vori said. As an officer who served in Lagos as CP, he is capable of policing Nigeria. Delta and Lagos states are very tough states to police. Therefore, any officer who served in Delta or Lagos as CP will police Nigeria as well. Both the IG and the governor underscored the need for public engagement, highlighting the role of police public relations officer in addressing misconceptions and showcasing the positive work of the police. Quickly, I would love to get your thoughts, Barrister, about the situation concerning the IG addressing Nigerians about publicizing police misconduct on social media.
Well, the IGP is saying, don't bring us out on social media. Go through the appropriate channels. But on the other hand, practically speaking, we tend to see that complaint on social media is attended to faster than when you go through the proper channel in most cases. I have seen situations in this country where police brutality are secretly covered by concerned citizens, and they post it all over. And when you see the big chiefs of police, commissioners of police, it gets to the inspector general of police, the image maker of the police will come up to say something. They will quickly look in. Let's not embarrass ourselves here. What is happening here? They will want to cover up the situation. And because the situation has been quickly made public, you see that they will attend to it quickly. In fact, in such situations, you will see that disciplinary actions will be taken because everybody is already following, and it will be taken care of more easily. Otherwise, it is most proper because this information on social media, people come up to say things that are not true. People come up to say how they feel. People come up to continue to, propagate unverified information. However, there is an aspect I want to look at here. The Inspector General of Police did mention that what this conference, training and retraining of police PROs as PPROs will help, and the step they are taking will help build more trust in the police and add to its integrity. I want to state something. First and foremost, does police still have integrity in Nigeria? If yes, to what extent? The reason is because yesterday, when I was small, when you hear about police, you will know that the government is here. Everybody will take his position. When you hear that the police is coming or the police is involved in something, or you see police on the road, you will respect them because of what it was yesterday. But today there is a problem. The integrity of the police, just like the integrity of our leaders generally in government, is gradually getting eroded.
Thank you very much. Quickly, Chief, talking about integrity, does it mean that the IG is trying to cover up something, or I don't know, does it mean that the social media is actually a platform that has been exposing certain things, like you said, that they would not want to be made public in the eyes of other people?
I think that there's an attempt to put old wine in new wineskin. And of course, what do you have is going to burst. Okay, I don't have any doubt whatsoever that the IGP has every reason to be worried about the kind of police force that he leads, the kind of police force that ends up every time on the wrong side. You know, whether it is harassing people on the road. How many people can call 999 and get a response anyway? Now, but it's easy to say that a crime is being committed, say somewhere around Obirikwere. The public knows about it, the police, security agencies know about it, and every reaction is geared towards. So the advent of the social media has brought instantaneous feedback.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, so let's one final word. The IG and the police should find how to use the social media positively for the purpose of the police. Because the thought of the IG appears to me to be analog. Now we are moved on to digital platforms. I
wanted to ask you a question, but let me direct it. I would love to hear your thoughts, Chuba. I wanted to ask you the question, but let me direct it to him.
If not for the social media, that issue would have died like every other issue had always died. Like Chief clearly advised the police, and I think that's what the IG needs to know. The social media should be used positively by the Nigerian police and not telling us when we know already. Have you been to police officers when it comes to complaints about officers? The social media, no matter what the IG says, I make both to say on air, the social media will definitely be used to call them to order, because without that there's little or no proof. Without that there's little or no escalation of the issues. At the end of it, I think that the advice Chief gave to the IG is the perfect advice you need to give to any sane person. As it is today, we see every time in the United Kingdom, in the United States of America, when police officers are coming out, you rarely see a police officer with a gun. They are either wearing a stick or a sidearm. Before you see them, they talk to you very politely. But we have seen it in this climb.